see that this would represent the table, and this is something that the teacher would complete. So the teacher would put the names of the students all around the table, and up here you've got your key, you've got some good things, you've got some negative comments up there as well. So some of the more positive things would be, refers to a text reference, asks a question, redirects the discussion in a positive direction, or maybe the student interrupted or distracted a classmate. So you can use the key to put next to each student's name. Ideally, at the end of the discussion, you want to see lines going all back and forth, a lot of discussion happening, one student to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. So this would be filled with lines. If you've only got lines perhaps on this part of the table, then you know that these are the only students who are really participating, and that would be something that would need to be addressed. All right. Oh, also on here I put a hyperlink to Edutopia, and I'm not going to click on it because it'll come up, it'll bring up all types of resources, and in the interest of time, I can't do that right now. However, if you go to Edutopia, Collaborative Learning Resources, all of these documents, or this document right here, will be available to you. All right, which brings us to how do I grade? How do I grade a Harkness discussion? So again, you can use the facilitator, the student facilitator notes, like the video that we saw. She could use that to help with assessment. You can use your own notes that you're taking when you're at the table with the students. You can do the assessment tool, like I just went over with you. You could use a discussion rubric, so I'll hand one of those out to you. The discussion rubric is really nice because it provides room for teacher comments over here on the side. It also clearly spells out expectations for comments. So for example, a 10-point contribution would be something like cites evidence from source and connects it to the discussion question. A 7-point contribution may be something like clarifies a difference of opinion. 5-point contribution would be relevant but does not draw on previous speakers. And then in the minus side, minus 10 points, dominates the conversation, is not alert or engaged in the discussion. And then at the bottom there's room for the teacher to total up the points and then assign a grade at the bottom. So that's real handy, real easy way to do an assessment. Another assessment tool that I found that would be quite useful is the fishbowl observation sheet. And again, I'll give you one of those. So if we take a look at the fishbowl observation sheet, again, there's room here for the teacher to make notes. And what I really like here is this is something that you could actually sit down and have a one-on-one interview with a student and kind of go over this. Observations, suggestions. You thoughtfully consider the points of your classmates before speaking. When you speak, it's worth listening to your comment. Or on the not-so-good side, cite more text. Let people finish, don't cut them off. And then you can give them a concrete example of one of the circled items above from the actual discussion on here. So again, this is a really good tool to use for assessment as well. And there's a ton of them out on the internet. Not a problem to find those. All right, so just to wrap up, I do believe that the Harkness discussion method really supports all the aspects of social and emotional learning. This type of cooperative learning supports the social and emotional development of students and prepares them for success in the modern workplace. Successful discussion and collaboration increase all aspects of SEL. Another point, too, is that as part of my research, I discovered that colleges, a lot of colleges are using more of this sort of collaborative discussion in their classes as well. And we can clearly see how increasing these skills would be very important for students going out into the workplace. Relationship skills especially, but all of them in total. All right, does anyone have any questions?
Yes, do you really think that it's as effective when the students are just sitting at their desks as opposed to an oval table?
I don't. And the reasons I don't think it's as effective are a couple of things. I think the table really establishes a sense of unity. Everybody is at the same table, kind of like when you're at the dinner table with your family. It's really that sense of a shared purpose. Desks in a circle, second best option, I would say. But with the desks, you get that sense of separation. However, if it's an option between having collaborative type of discussions and not, depending on whether or not you have a table, then I say go ahead and use the desks and do it. The small group that we saw in the video can be effective as well, I believe. But I really think that being in a circle and with the teacher there as an observer is probably the best way to handle these. Are there any other questions? Okay, I just wanted to mention next steps really quickly. I've already talked to the principal and she's on board to start incorporating these types of discussions into our curriculum. Major problem obviously are the tables. So possibly next steps would be to go out into the community, maybe ask for donations, maybe see if anyone has some old oval tables at a garage sale or something like that that we could perhaps bring into our classrooms to start making this happen. Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate your time and attention tonight, and that's a wrap.